Hello, my name is Sarah and I'm a volunteer with the Alabama Coastal Foundation. I'm here to talk to you today about becoming a Bay Buddy. First, let me introduce some of my friends. Hannah, the blue heron, Gary, the gopher tortoise, Bella the dolphin, Speck the spotted sea trout, and Jeffrey the oyster. Today we're going to learn about oysters like Jeffrey and the place where they live. We will also learn how we as Bay Buddies can help take care of oysters and help keep the place where they live safe and clean. The Alabama Coastal Foundation has a special mission to improve and protect Alabama's coastal environment. We do that through cooperation, education, and participation. Here at the Alabama Coastal Foundation, we teach people about our coastal environment so that we can work together to take care of it. So what is a coastal environment and how do we take care of it? The environment is everything surrounding us. That includes living things like plants and animals, as well as non-living things like sand. There are many kinds of environments. What are some things you see in environments shown in these pictures? In one of these pictures, you can see students in a classroom. There are pictures on the walls, books, some papers. This is an indoor environment. In the picture in the front, you can see a bird standing in the grass. This is an outdoor environment. In the far right, you see another picture. This is a coastal environment, trees, and you can tell that they're next to the water. This is an example of an indoor environment. You probably have a room like this at your school. Notice how clean it is. You can see there are pictures on the walls. Maybe in your classroom you have a plant, pictures, maps. Your teacher probably tells you how to keep it nice and clean and safe. But there are also outdoor environments. And they include all the plants, animals, and the homes that these animals live in. If you look in the picture, you can see the blue sky and the sandy beach. This is a coastal environment. What other things do you see in these pictures? Do you see the trees? The sky? There's a swamp? These are all outdoor environments, and they're all next to the water, which means we call them coastal environments. Do you remember our friend Jeffrey the oyster? Well, he wants us to learn more about the environment he lives in so we can help him and his friends to take care of it. This is a picture of a watershed. All the area surrounded by the yellow dotted line leads down to the large area of water at the bottom of the picture. When rain falls anywhere in this area, it eventually all drains to the same body of water. It might flow through storm drains or through creeks and streams, or it might be washed directly into the large body of water. Most of us live in a special watershed called the Mobile Bay Watershed. In our area, all the water drains into Mobile Bay and eventually into the Gulf of Mexico. Here's a picture of how the water drains in our state. You see all the lines here? Those indicate rivers and streams. Rain that falls all over our state and in parts of Mississippi and Georgia, they flow into Mobile Bay and then into the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of different kinds of animals live in the water in and around Mobile Bay. Have you ever seen an oyster? An oyster is one type of animal that makes its home here in the Mobile Bay area. Oysters grow in hard shells, like these. The shell protects the oyster inside. Oysters like to grow on top of one another in large piles called beds or reefs. They grow in areas called estuaries, where rivers meet the sea. The oysters in these reefs help take care of our coastal environment. Oysters are important to us because they are good to eat. Some people like to eat them right off the shell, raw. Others like to eat them fried or grilled. But oysters are important for other things too. Let's find out more about why they are so important. One way they help us is by providing a place for birds, fish, and other creatures to live. Tiny plants and animals make their home in oyster reefs. Larger animals, like birds and fish, can find food in those oyster reefs. Oyster reefs also help with erosion. Sometimes, when we have a heavy rain, land near the water can be washed away. In big storms like hurricanes, the water can get really high. It can cause the land to wash away. This is called erosion. Oyster reefs along the shore can help keep the land from being washed away. Oysters also help take care of the environment by making the water around them cleaner. Oysters take water into their shells in order to get food, but the water that comes back out of the shell is cleaner. Look at both of these tanks in the pictures. They were filled both with dirty water. But the oysters were put in one tank on the right. Look how much cleaner the water is after just 1 hour. Oyster reefs are very important to help keep our coastal environment clean, healthy, and safe. But Jeffrey and his friends need our help to keep the oysters safe. Baby oysters, called spat, do not live in hard shells. For them to grow, the spat must attach themselves to something hard, usually an oyster shell. The best thing for them is a grown-up oyster shell. Once they attach to that shell, the spat begin to grow their own shell. Without a hard shell to attach to, the spat will die. One way we can help is by making sure that there are plenty of empty shells for the spat to attach to. Restaurants that serve oysters have a lot of empty shells. The Alabama Coastal Foundation is working on a special project called the Oyster Shell Recycling Program, which will collect these shells and put them back in the areas where oysters grow. When we eat oysters in local restaurants, the shells from those oysters can be put back into the water. Baby oysters can attach to these shells while they are growing to make their own shells. So far, the shells we have collected weigh as much as 160 elephants. Because oysters are so important to us, some local artists have created some special artwork. They have painted some of their favorite things about where we live on giant oyster statues. These special statues are part of the Oyster Trail. You can find statues on this Oyster Trail in both Mobile and Baldwin County. This one in the picture shows some of the historical parts of our community. The Oyster Trail website has maps showing the locations of the other oyster statues. This statue is sponsored by the Alabama Coastal Foundation, and it can be found in Gulf Shores. It shows how oyster shells can be recycled. We are helping restaurants recycle oyster shells, but you can help Jeffrey and his friends by recycling other things. Our friend Bella the dolphin is telling us about how important recycling is because every living thing around us depends on the safety and health of our environment. Bella wants you to know that there are many different things that you can recycle. Paper and cardboard can go through a process that makes changes to them, and you can make new paper items. We can help by making sure paper and cardboard products are taken to a recycling center. We can also help by purchasing new items that are made from recycled paper. We can also recycle plastic, and we use plastic for so many things. We use plastic bottles, plastic bags, plastic plates, plastic cups. We use plastic to package all kinds of products, so it's very important that we recycle plastic when we can. We can also try to use less of it. Glass bottles and jars can also be recycled. The glass is crushed and melted, then made into new bottles and new jars. It can be recycled over and over again. Recycled glass can also be used for other things. For example, glass can be crushed and mixed with other materials and used to make bricks and build roads. But be very careful. Do not take broken glass to be recycled. It can harm the workers who are handling it. When aluminum is recycled, it is cleaned, then melted and made into large blocks. These blocks are sent to places where they can be used to make new products. This is the recycling symbol. Look for this symbol to find out if materials can be recycled. Many companies are helping recycle through special programs. The Crayola company will work with schools to recycle used up markers. Do you like French fries? What about fried chicken or fried fish? In the South, we like to eat fried foods. We cook these foods using cooking oil. Sometimes, people pour the used oil down the drain. This is bad for the drain. It can cause them to get clogged up. Sometimes the oil is poured into the ground. This can cause problems too. The best thing to do with used oil is to recycle it. The oil can be put in a plastic bottle and taken to a place that can recycle it. For example, the Mobile Area Water and Sewer Systems has special bottles that can be used to collect oil. Other types of oil, like the oil used in cars, can also be recycled. Are you ready to help Jeffrey the Oyster and his friends to keep our environment clean and safe? One way to help is by making sure some of the things you use are recycled. There are lots of ways you can help. You can help by playing outside. You can help by using reusable bags when you go to the grocery store. Or you can turn a light off when you leave the room. Or if you're not using a fan, make sure it's turned off. Are you ready to become a Bay Buddy and help keep the environment clean and safe for your friends? If you're ready, repeat after me. Put litter in its place. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Always do the right thing. Teach others what you learn. Congratulations, you did it. You're a Bay Buddy.